Hello, and welcome to the Core Dog Experience. We're here. I talk Ohio State Buckeyes, talking Buckeyes from the fans' point of view. So if you enjoy Buckeye content, please subscribe. And if you're feeling what you're hearing, please hit that like button. Help your brother grow this thing out. Grew a lot in 2023. Hoping to do more in 2024. Yeah. So, the championship game, Michigan and Washington. It was a good game. Good game. I ain't gonna talk about the other stuff, the white elephant in the room. I ain't gonna talk about that. I'm gonna let that play itself out. I'm gonna try and let it play. I ain't gonna try to talk about it too much. We gonna let it play out and see what the NCAA gonna do somewhere down the road. But I ain't gonna talk about it. One thing I will say, if and when the punishment does come down, I say if and when, you know what us Ohio State fans are gonna be doing. We're gonna be comparing it to Tattoo Gate. We still salty over that. We ain't never gonna get over that. So I'm just saying. Just saying we're gonna be looking to see what goes on with the NCAA if and when penalties do come out. Because they may not, who knows? But Tattoo Gate cost Ohio State a lot. Because the punishment did not fit the violations. Our brothers got some ink on their skin. We had wins vacated. We lost our coach because he allegedly lied. So I'm just saying that's why we salty. That's why we bring it up. That's why we interested in what's going on or what's going to happen with the sign stealing stuff. Because tattoos, that don't affect the game on the field play. Sign stealing, that's something entirely different altogether. But I ain't gonna talk about that here. I ain't gonna talk about that. We gonna go on and talk about some other stuff. We're gonna talk about the actual game. There are some positives for us Ohio State folks, even though we didn't play in it. There are some positives to look forward to that came from this game, so to speak. As Big Ten fans, more or less, not so much Ohio State fans, but as fans of the Big Ten, there are some positives to look to. First and foremost, we end the 4-team college football playoff era the way we started it. A Big Ten team winning it. Over a Pac-12 team, mind you. No, Ohio State blew out Oregon in the first ever rendition of college football 4-team playoff, beating Alabama along the way, and School Up North closes out the 4-team era, beating Alabama on the way. There. So a little bit of positive. Another thing, got a current and future Big Ten team beat a current and a future SEC team. So there you go. Some stuff to say, yeah, all right. Some stuff to nod our head about in agreement, even though our Buckeyes didn't play in it. But as a fan of the Big Ten in general, that's some stuff we can say, all right. We'll take that. We'll take it. May not necessarily like it, but we'll take it. We will take it. It is what it is for now. It is what it is for now. When a little bit of the game itself, that first quarter was starting to look a whole lot like Georgia and TCU from last year. Because Michigan was just going up and down the field. You didn't know if Washington even had a defense. It was looking that way all over again. Michigan jumped out early, and they pretty much didn't look like they could be stopped. And then, watching the game, then, you get that what if. What if we did it this, because what if I'm a Marvel person. You know, got the new What If season going on right now in Marvel, but I'm a what if person. Like, what if Ohio State had made that 50-yard field goal last year? Yeah. What if Ohio State was able to close out that final drive against Michigan this year? What if? That's why they play the games, y'all. That's why they play the games. But Ohio State was right there both years and just couldn't close the deal. What if? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's painful when you think about it. I'm going to try not to. But just what if? What if they got it just a little bit differently? But it is what it is. But that first quarter was not looking good for Washington to get back onto the game. I'm going to try to stay on track. I might go off on tangents because it's the end of the year, y'all. End of the year, the season's over. A lot of stuff we could talk about. So I might be going off on different tangents here and there. I'm going to try to stay focused. It may not work. I'm just forewarning. I'm going to try to stay on the game as much as possible. Going to try to. But we ain't going to talk about that. But Washington weathered the storm. They're trying to make a game of it. Because they didn't like they were going to be able to do much against Michigan. Donovan Edwards pretty much went untouched on his touchdown runs in that first half. And Michigan was just having their way. They were clearly, especially in that first quarter, they were clearly the more physical team. Their lines were dominating on both offensively and defensively. And he was like, dang, is it going to be Georgia and TCU all over again? Because that's what it looked like after that first quarter. Michigan just went up and down. No problems. The holes were huge that their running backs were running through. It's like, dang. I said I wasn't going to watch it, but I had to peep. And just see what if. I had to see a little bit for myself, and I almost turned it off. But Washington weathered the storm, and they were making a game of it, until that holding call. Now, normally, even when Ohio State loses, even when the Georgia game last year, when they lose, I try to stay away from pitting the stuff on the referees. But it's always one or two calls that seem to just determine outcomes of games, or not determine. It goes a long way in switching momentum one way or the other. And we had another call like that, Michigan, Washington. Yeah, it has to be talked about. I'm sorry. You just got to talk about it. Because it changed the momentum of the game. And it changes the momentum, and it has to be talked about because in the first half, you're talking about the holding call against Washington in the second half. Penix completed the pass to Oduzzi, and they got called back for holding. They showed the replay that the Washington player allegedly held the Michigan player. I didn't see holding. Not on that play. Not when you compare it. Not when you compare it to the holding in the first half on Michigan that didn't get called. Y'all know exactly what play I'm talking about. He did. See, my shit still mixed up. How do you not? And the referee stands behind the quarterback, so you know he saw it. How can you not see it? It was like, dude, he saw his underwear and crap. How do you not call that? So when they didn't call it, I'm like, all right, they gonna let these boys play. They gonna let them play. If they ain't gonna call this, they ain't gonna call nothing. So they didn't call it. I mean, and I don't think the drive went anywhere. It's just I had to bring it up. Because how can you not bring it up when you see the play that they actually called holding on? And it looked like, when they showed the replay, looked like the Washington player was going to, because he had him up here, because normally that's a holding right away, but seemed like he caught what he was doing, let the dude, I didn't see nothing, he didn't alter him, didn't do none of that, let him go and just pushed homeboy down. And they called holding. They showed the replay, the expert tried to come in and explain it. He didn't do a very good job. I'm sorry, it was not holding. Normally when they get that, they hook him, you can see him visibly turn the player. He ain't do none of that. He caught himself, pushed the dude down to the ground. They call holding. Play comes back. Washington punts. Michigan goes down, scores again. Pretty much ball game. And Washington had other opportunities. Let's be real. Penix missed a wide open. Can you get any more open than that for your top receiver on your team? You know what? Tangent. I'm gonna go off on some tangents. Every time watching throughout the season, and the other team has a really good receiver, be it Malik Neighbors, Romaduze, or whoever, they always want to say he might be the best receiver in the game, knowing damn well he ain't. Everybody know Marvin Harrison is the best receiver in college. Why you keep trying to pick these guys above Marvin Harrison? I don't know, don't get it, don't understand it, but they not. They may have better stats just because they may have had better quarterback play, but they ain't better than Marvin Harrison. Okay, back on task. Just have to throw that out there because they did it all year long. Be it Malik Neighbors and the LSU fan base, Romaduze, the Washington fan base. For my money, next to Marvin Harrison, I pick Keon Coleman up there, but that's just me. I'm just saying. That's just something when they do that every game. And he just might be the best receiver. No, he ain't. He good. He ain't better than Marvin Harrison. They need to quit that stuff. Anyway, Washington had his chances wide open. Was a 4th and 7. And how, if you Michigan, how do you let the guy get that wide open? And Penix flat out missed him. Missed him by a lot. Some would say that was Kyle McCord-like throw. I like Kyle McCord. The amount of hate he got this year is just, like I said, unfathomable for a guy that had his record. But I ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole either. But Washington had some chances. They had some opportunities. They blew it. They didn't execute. Wide open. Penix missed them on that 4th and 7. Other stuff, not so much their fault. The holding that got called compared to the holding that was. I bet homeboy still fixing this thing because it's still raggedy from being held. Got the holding that got called versus the holding that didn't get called. Even though I don't think that Michigan drive went anywhere. It's just the fact that one holding got called and the other didn't. I still think Michigan goes on to win that game. For any Michigan fans that might be watching, if you are, thank you, appreciate the views. Hit the like button too. You may not want to, but hit the like button too. But I think Michigan was still going to win the game. They were the better team. They were the more physical team, and I think that played out throughout the course of the game. Of whatever Michigan wanted to do, when they wanted to do it, they were pretty much able to do it. Like I said, their O-line looked good. And it's sad when you look at that. Oh, it's not sad because the O-line, you see that O-line, that's what an O-line is supposed to look like. And I'm giving you your props, Michigan. That was a good O-line. For us Ohio State fans, that crap we saw in the Cotton Bowl, that was just pathetic. And I ain't going to go down that tangent again because I could be another hour talking about how pitiful our offensive line looked like in the Cotton Bowl compared to what Michigan's offensive line looked like in the championship game against a very good team. They were blowing holes wide open for the most part. A lot of times the running backs weren't getting touched. It was like 10 yards down the field. They were getting touched, if at all. So that's what the O-line is supposed to look like. Props to you, Michigan, for coaching up that O-line. Ohio State's O-line, we got some work to do. Let's just be honest. We got some work to do. So that O-line did not look good at all in the Cotton Bowl. And for many games this year, the O-line was not performing at the level we thought it could be performing at, especially in year 2 of Justin Fry's tenure. Like I said, Jim Knowles' defense made a big jump from year 1 to year 2. Justin Fry's offensive line, not so much. So it's good seeing what an offensive line is supposed to look like. And Michigan showed that. I'm just saying, trying to keep it somewhat real. That was a good offensive line performance from Michigan against a very good Washington team. Hopefully we can straighten our mess out heading into next year. Like I said, current Big Ten team, future Big Ten team beat the SEC schools. That's one thing we could take away from this last ever playoff, 4-team playoff thing, is the Big Ten looks good heading into the new era of college football, the 12-team playoff. And by that, I think the Big Ten looks good moving forward with our additions. USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington. I think it's better than the 2 schools that are going to Oklahoma, SEC and Oklahoma and Texas. So I think the future for the Big Ten is going to be way more. It's looking good heading into the 12-team playoff era. So Ryan Day's going to have to step up, because I think the Big Ten is going to get a lot more competitive now. If anything that day did show us is that the Pac-12 schools may not be as ready as they think they are heading into the Big Ten. Because Michigan, let's face it, their interior lines, both offensively and defensively, are good, but that's the brand of football a lot of the Big Ten teams play. Maybe not up to that level. That's a lot of teams they're going to have to get used to week in and week out. Not so much in the Pac-12. They're not as physical from top to bottom. Not to say they ain't going to win, because I think they will come here and be very successful, but that's the brand of football they're going to have to get accustomed to. Out of all the teams coming, I think Oregon might be the best suited to do it in terms of a physical standpoint. Like I said, how they lost to Washington twice, I don't. Especially that first game, their coach just kept going for it on fourth down, and they weren't hitting on fourth down. But that's another discussion for another day to see how they do next year in the Big Ten Conference. And while we on that, it's time to move on from the Big Ten. We just got to call it the Big Conference, because to call it the Big Ten now, I know it's a branding thing and all that other stuff, but it's beyond. It was ridiculous years ago, but it's beyond ridiculous now. We got to drop the Big Ten. Just call it the Big Conference and move on. We can rebrand. It's a name. We can rebrand the Big Conference. Ain't that big of a change. Just drop the numeral. Get rid of the number. Just call it the Big Conference and be through with it. But Michigan, I ain't gonna do it. Michigan, they were the better team. Call or no call, holding, no holding. I still think they would have eventually won the game, even if Washington had gone down there and was able to tie it up. Because that was the drive. They were going to tie it up if they were able to actually punch it into the end zone. But the holding call negated all of that. They said Michigan goes down and scores. It is what it is. It was never much of a game. After that, Michigan does what they do. They run the ball. And that was, like I said, that was pretty much the ball game. So congratulations to the Big Ten for winning the last ever playoffs of the 4-team era. Much the same way we started off the 4-team playoff era for Big Ten team winning it. But one of the things I don't like, now I'll say I don't like it, but one of the things I was really proud of being an Ohio State person is that Ohio State was the only team. Sometimes it's good to be the only team to do something. I don't care how the rest of the conference looks. It was good being the only Big Ten team to not only win a CFP playoff game in the 4-team era, it was good being the only Big Ten team to actually win the national title in the 4-team playoff era. Now we got to share that shit. We got to share it with Michigan of all teams. I hate sharing stuff with Michigan, but we got to share that with Michigan. It was good to be able to say we're the only team to do that. And I don't care how bad it makes the rest of the conference look. That's just me being selfish. It was good to say Ohio State was the only team to win a game in the 4-team playoff era and actually win the national title in the 4-team playoff era. Now we can't say that. We gotta share that one with Michigan. But what we can still say is we're the only Big Ten team to win a national title in the BCS era and the 4-team college football playoff era. We still got that claim. Just like we got the claim we only got the 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. We can still say that too for now. So yes, everybody was rejoicing when Caleb Williams laid an egg this year. You know that generational quarterback that's supposed to replace Justin Fields? You generational, I'm sorry, you don't go 6'5", 7'5". I'm just saying. But that's the NFL discussion for another day. He's not generational. Generational QBs don't go 6'5", 7'5". I'm just saying. I saw him play against good defense and he didn't look all that good. He looked like Justin Fields behind that Chicago Bears offensive line. I'm just saying. So go on Chicago, get rid of him if you want. To your own detriment. But Ohio State's still the only team, one of the few teams to win, the only Big Ten team to win a national title in the BCS era and in the 4-team playoff era. And again, one of the only few teams to win it in both eras, Alabama being one of the other ones. But not too many teams can make that claim. Ohio State still can. And we're the only Big Ten team that can. So I like stuff like that. I don't like sharing everything. I was the only child for a long time. I don't like sharing stuff. I can be selfish. But Ohio State can still make that claim. That was one of the big downers for me being a Buckeye fan, is that we got to share some accolades now with Michigan. For now, we got to share. Y'all know I ain't going to talk about it, though. But for now, we got to share that with Michigan. The national title in the 14 playoff era. For now. May not be able to say that this time next year, but for now, depending on how things play out, we share Michigan. We're the only Big Ten teams to win a game in the CFP play a 4-team era, and the only Big Ten teams to win a national championship as we close out the 4-team playoff era. So that's the game. Ain't too much to comment on about the actual game itself. Michigan, better team, more physical team. They probably would have won with or without the holding call. So, no comment. It wasn't the holding. Y'all know it was holding. That didn't get called. You know, you ain't gonna call that one. Don't call nothing the rest of the game. That's all I'm saying. Y'all still would have won the game. I still think y'all still would have won the game. But that wasn't holding on that play for Washington. Gonna call one, call the other. We just want fairness. Just be fair. Fair. That didn't come off as being fair. That's all we saying. You ain't gonna call this. Then don't call that one to do. Just push him down. That's all we saying. See, my shirt's still all jacked up. Oh man, Portal talk. That's the game. I mean, it is what it is. Congratulations to the Big Ten for winning the title. You know, I can't say it. I can't say congratulations to that team specifically. I can't do it. I don't think no Big Ten Ohio State fan can do it, because that's our rival. We can't say it. We can't say it. So I was going into that game, I bet you can't find out one Ohio State fan that was pulling for Michigan to beat Washington. Not one. You ain't gonna find it. You probably weren't finding too many people nationwide that was pulling for Michigan to win that game. But especially, I just don't see any Ohio State fan wanting Michigan to win that game against Washington, especially with Washington coming into the conference next year. Now, you may have some conference loyalists out there who root for the Big Ten regardless. You may have some Ohio State fans like that. Like, I'm sure there may have been a small percentage of Ohio State fans that wanted Michigan to beat Alabama because it's Alabama and the SEC. You know, we think we probably hate more than Michigan is Alabama and the SEC in general. Can't stand them. Yeah, it's the SEC, Alabama. Probably may have a smidgen, a small, maybe less than 1%. You probably count them on one hand on how many Ohio State fans wanted Michigan to beat Alabama. Other than that, I bet you 99.9% of Ohio State fans are rooting for Michigan. See, that's how you know it's a rivalry. That's how you know the schools just don't like each other. Like, people want to go up there and say the Iron Bowl's better, because you get that argument every year. Well, the Iron Bowl's just as good as the game. No, it ain't. I don't follow them. I don't know. I'm just speaking. I don't know. But I'm pretty much sure if Auburn fans, they were probably wanting Alabama to win against Michigan. You know, Iron Bowl, they supposed to be rivals. I bet Auburn was rooting for Alabama to beat Michigan because, you know, SEC. It just means more. I bet a bunch of Auburn fans were hoping Alabama beat Michigan because it's the SEC. Ohio State fans weren't doing that. That's how you know it's a rival. We want our rivals to lose, period. I wasn't rooting for Michigan against Alabama, and definitely wasn't rooting for them against Washington. Now, it's good they won. Look good for the Big Ten, but I wasn't rooting for them. I wasn't rooting against them, but I wasn't rooting for them. If they won, they won. But that's how you know it's a rivalry. The rivalry, the game, Michigan, it just, in terms of rivalry, it means more to the nation as a whole. The numbers don't lie. Look at the numbers. So Auburn's good, every few years? They good every 5 years. Even if in some of Michigan's mediocre years, they were still decent, and we still had the best viewership. That's how you know it's a rivalry. You know, and the other thing I don't get about some of the Ohio State fans is during that time, because they like bringing up Urban Meyer's record, which is he's 7-0, can't take nothing away from him, 7-0, but he played against a lot of bad Michigan teams, period. Leading Michigan fans will tell you that. He wasn't playing against the Michigan teams that Ryan Day had to go through the last couple of years. Ain't gonna say it. But my only thing is, you know, Urban Meyer was so good against Michigan. You think he'd have a better Big Ten record? He got the natty, get that to him. But Urban Meyer, like I said in the previous thing, he couldn't beat the Iowas, Purdue's, and Michigan States of the world. You think he'd have more to show for beating, going 7-0 against Michigan? I'm just saying. But Ryan Day's doing good. He's got the portal. When the portal opened up, we had a lot of folks transferring out. And you know, our fan base and stuff like that happens, they go back crazy. The sky's falling, yada, yada, yada. A lot of those folks are transferred out, were either fifth-year seniors and Fleming and the punter, or guys that already got bypassed on the depth charts by incoming freshmen. They've been in the program 2-3 years, and the chance of them seeing the field were slim to none, so they transferred out. It might hurt us depth-wise, but they've already been passed up. So they were transferring out. They weren't playing anyway. We lost the starting punter, and Julian Fleming, I think, were the only starters that actually transferred out so far. And I think Fleming ended up at Penn State. So we'll see if Drew Aller talking about bad quarterback play. Y'all want to talk about McCord? Did y'all see Drew Aller this year? But we ain't going down. We gonna go down that road either. It's Penn State. They know what they got a quarterback. But our portal, at the end of the day, we did, I say, addition by subtraction. We brought in 3 people who most likely start. Depending on what happens with Trevion, got the kid out of Ole Miss coming in. We've been turned through some of these Ole Miss transfers. Igmanosin and now Judkins coming in at running back. So if Henderson does stay, that'll be a good 1, 2, 3 punch if Hayden decides not to hit the portal. But Dallas Hayden, Quinshawn Judkins, and Trevion Henderson, if Henderson stays, or if Henderson doesn't stay, like I said in my last post after that Cotton Bowl, if I'm Henderson, I'm not staying unless he wants to come back to beat Michigan. You got a lot of folks that are coming back, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be good. And if Jim knows his third year, we might have a top flight defense again. So if I'm Trevion, it all depends. Do you want to beat Michigan or do you want to go on? So if you're going to have another performance like our offensive line had in that Cotton Bowl, if I'm Trevion, I'm leaving. I'm just saying. But with Judkins coming in, whether Henderson's there or not, we either got us a bona fide running back in Judkins and Hayden, or we got us the best 1-2 punch potentially with Henderson, Judkins, and Hayden. So we made out well there. I think he was the number 1 rated running back in the portal. Kudos to Ryan Day and Alford. Number 1 all interior line transfer from Alabama. His issues aside in the bowl game against Michigan where he couldn't get the snap right on a few occasions. But he's the top rated interior lineman. We got him. And then the quarterback, Will Howard out of Kansas State. See, y'all ran McCord out because y'all wanted Devin Brown. You had a vocal minority, wanted Devin Brown. Anything McCord did got magnified. Interception, missed pass, it got magnified, got blown way out of proportion. I think the amount of criticism he took was unwarranted given the type of season he had. But y'all ran him out because y'all wanted Devin Brown. And I told you Devin Brown might have some durability issues. He played, 30, 40 snaps. He got hurt on 2 of them. Couldn't play the rest of the game. But y'all wanted Devin Brown. But quickly, how those same fans wanted Devin Brown to be starter are ready to dump on him and say Will Howard. It's like they don't even want the competition. We got Will Howard. Yeah. He's just a more experienced version of Devin Brown. Well, if you ask me, excuse me, we'll see. It should be a good quarterback competition. Will Howard and Devin Brown, because I don't think Lincoln's in the picture. We saw the trust Ryan Day had in Lincoln Kindholtz in the Cotton Bowl. Either he didn't have any trust or he didn't prepare him. Your pick on how that played out, because Lincoln looked like a deer in headlights in that Cotton Bowl. Offensive line issues aside, Lincoln wasn't ready. Period. And then Aaron Nolan. If Aaron Nolan comes in and beats all of them out, then that's saying something. But we'll see how that plays out. But I think it's been addition by subtraction. We're bringing in 3 starters, and we're also bringing in another tight end transfer out of Cincinnati. Don't know how much time he's going to get. I think G. Scott is back. We believe Stover. I don't know if he's declared yet or not what Stover's going to do. He might be out of time eligibility wise, but we're going to see how the tight end position plays back. But we got some good Jelani Thurman. I believe we have another top flight tight end coming in, so we might be set off there offensively. So it's going to see how that plays out in the portal. I think it's addition by subtraction. The kids that left wanted to play, and they saw their options of getting on the field here at Ohio State may have been slim to none. So I don't think we're losing much, despite the sky is falling mentality a lot of folks have when they see folks transferring out. They weren't starters. A lot of them were defensive backs and wide receivers. The 2 positions we're loaded at, skill-wise, are cornerbacks and wide receivers. A lot of the cornerbacks we saw this year play were freshmen that have passed up to folks that have been here 2 or 3 years. So I don't blame them for leaving because they weren't getting on the field. The receivers that left, the Rogers kids, Bryson, Noah. Look, you got Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, Jeremiah Smith, Mayan Graham. they weren't going to see. Good chances they weren't going to see the field. So we'll see how it plays out. We have a potentially to be stacked next year if things plan out. But Ohio State's not broken as some would have you believe following the Cotton Bowl. You want to know what a broken program was? It's what a broken program looks like. Look no further than the U. I mentioned one of those, our last title, the BCS era. That's the last time Miami was relevant. That's the last time they were actually the U. Since then, they just been Miami. The Miami school in Florida. They haven't been right since we beat them back in the 2002 national championship game. We trestle balled them to death. That's what you call a broken program. Ohio State's not broken. For all those wanting to say Ohio State is broken, we need to get rid of Ryan Day. No, you want to know what a broken program looks like? Look no further than Miami. I ain't gonna call them the U. They ain't been the U for a while. Every time they say they get to the quarterback and they ready to rise up, no, they don't. And then the ACC, which ain't a very strong football conference, they still can't do nothing. So, but Ryan Day, see on the house, did the seat get warmer? Yeah, not being a Ryan Day supporter, fan, not a supporter. I question some of his play calling, and I question how he gets his backups ready to go. Because I said it last year when McCord did come in, all he do is hand the ball off. Lincoln Kineholtz came in, he was not ready. One thing I give Urban Meyer props for not only going 7-0 against Michigan, regardless how good the Michigan teams were, when his backups came in, they're ready to play. Braxton Miller goes down, Kenny Guyton comes in, leads the team against Purdue. They couldn't be more different stylistically than J.T. Barrett and Cardale Jones, or J.T. Barrett, Dwayne Haskins. Barrett goes down, Cardale Jones comes in. We know what Cardale did. Barrett goes down against Michigan. We know what Haskins did. Rest in peace. Comes in, leads the fourth quarter, come back up in Ann Arbor. That's why Joe Burrow left. But two quarterback style couldn't be more different stylistically. J.T. Barrett, RPO, Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace, drop back quarterback. Braxton Miller, Mr. Dynamite, Kenny Guyton, smooth Kenny G, pretty much a back pocket passer. But they came in ready to play. Lincoln Kineholtz comes in. It's like, what do we do now? So Ryan Day has some improving to do, both in him. So he needs to bring an offense coordinator, because that's one of my things with him as well. His play calling has been suspect in certain situations. Look no further than the Georgia game last year. Could have done a lot more to make for a better field goal. I think he dropped the ball there, but he has to get better play calling, because talent-wise, our teams, he may be out recruiting Urban Meyer. It's just talent-wise, the talent is there. Development-wise, I don't know. Needs to make some changes in his coaching staff. He made one, not the one I don't think we were expecting. would have been my first choice, but the safety coach Perry Eliano is out. Like I said, not my first choice, and I don't advocate for people getting fired, but he would not have been my first choice of folks to go let go. Not to say more changes aren't coming, but I didn't see that one coming. Not to be the first one. I think there's some other options out there. Justin Fry. I'm just saying. But Ryan Day's not going anywhere. The new president coming in has pretty much said that. Some folks saying Gene Smith's retiring, y'all. He's not going to be the one making the decision anyway. Now the new AD may coming in, he may not be so patient with Ryan Day. The Ryan Day, he might be on the hot seat, because Gene Smith ain't the man no more. There's going to be someone else coming in. He's going to be evaluating Ryan Day's performance. So Ryan Day may not, I hope he's not done. I know Like the Iliano may have been the first of many coaching changes, so we will see. But I didn't think that was our main issue. I thought our safeties and played well, and I thought the defense played well generally. You thought some changes would have came on the offensive side of the ball before the defensive side of the ball. I'm just saying. But Ryan Day, he's not going anywhere. And like I previously mentioned, if y'all knew peeping some of my stuff, look at some of my other stuff. I go down the rabbit hole on some of these things on a much deeper issue. I ain't going to go too much into it now. But like I said, when the Ryan Day, especially following the Michigan game and again following the Cotton Bowl, all these folks want Ryan Day fired. But the names they were bringing up, like I said, if you're going to bring up some names, first of all, when they did bring up names, or they say fire Ryan Day and then you say, well, replace him with who, then they go crickets because they ain't got no suggestions on who to replace Ryan Day with. You don't say fire somebody, you ain't got no suggestions on who to bring in. You're like, well, who you going to bring in? They never respond. On the few that did respond, though, it didn't make no sense. Who you going to replace him with? Marcus Freeman. Like I said, make it make sense. So you want to replace Ryan Day, the guy that can't beat Michigan, with a guy that can't beat Ryan Day. Marcus Freeman can't beat Ryan Day, but y'all want to replace Ryan Day or Marcus Freeman because Ryan Day can't beat Harbaugh, but yet Marcus Freeman can't beat Ryan Day. Well, Ryan Day got better players. He got more talent. Not according to the last game, he didn't. Notre Dame was favored to win that game. Ryan Day still beat him. Make it make sense. And then guys with your selective outrage. Selective outrage. Y'all remember what Marcus Freeman said when he had his little press conference in front of Notre Dame, not thinking it was going to get out? He pretty much trashed Ohio State. But y'all ready to bring him on board, but yet you're going to throw Kyle McCord to the wolves just because he said Notre Dame, because he said Michigan's just another game. You would have thought he talked about somebody's mama, the way they threw him under the bus and wanted to run him out of town. But yet Marcus Freeman can trash Ohio State. It was a mistake to go there, yada, 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 and y'all ready to bring him back. Selective outrage, that's all I'm saying. What he said was far worse than what he think Kyle McCord said. And he should know better because he's a grown-ass man. Kyle McCord's still a kid. I don't get it. What's another name? Luke Fickell. Like I said, Luke Fickell in a watered-down Big Ten West couldn't win the Big Ten West. Was probably the most talented team in the Big Ten West. Love Luke Fickell, but he couldn't win the Big Ten West. Iowa, he let Iowa beat him. Iowa ain't got no, like I said previously, I could go get 10 guys on my block and we could stop Iowa's offense. Luke Fickell good, but nah, let him prove himself at Wisconsin. Bring back, Ryan Hartline. How we know Hartline ain't called some of the plays already? Let him keep bringing in the folks in, and maybe Ryan Day can let him take more control over the offensive coordinator and actually call some plays. We don't know what Hartline can do yet. I'm not ready to get the keys to Brian Hartline yet. Stay in his lane for now. Mike Vrabel, he just got fired. First of all, he just got fired. And secondly, he showed no interest in wanting to coach college. He's been already proposed or supposed to be going to a number of NFL teams that have openings. He's not coming back to college. What person in the NFL would want to come back and deal with NIL, transfer portal, and all that other stuff? He ain't coming. So, again, if you're going to fire Ryan Day, make it make sense. That's all I'm saying. Because Ryan Day ain't going nowhere. First of all, he got a big-ass buyout. So, I'll just say it. You know the one name, though, that I haven't heard that'll be interesting? Because they bring up Urban Meyer, too. But we know Urban come with some baggage. He good, but he come with some baggage. Let's be real. He came in with some baggage, and he left with some baggage. But the one guy that I haven't heard yet that has a little bit of baggage of his own, and during the Urban Meyer era, you know who gave Urban Meyer more problems than Michigan? Mark D'Antonio and Michigan State. I'm just saying. Bring him. The one guy that could beat Ohio State and could beat Michigan was Mark D'Antonio and his Spartans team, because the Spartans were the thorn in the side during Urban Meyer's era, not so much Michigan. Just saying. That's the one name I haven't heard, despite how he left Michigan State and some of the stuff that went on there. If y'all keep bringing up Urban Meyer's name with all his baggage, why not Mark D'Antonio? I'm just saying, if the Ryan Day era does finally come to an end at some point, why not Mark D'Antonio? He's proven he can beat Ohio State. He beat Urban Meyer, and he proven he can beat Michigan. I'm just another name to throw out there. To me, that name makes more sense than the other ones because he's available. For one, as far as I know, he ain't got no job right now. He available. I'm just saying that he's a proven track record. He knows how to beat top teams because he's done it before. He's beaten Ohio State on more than one occasion during the Urban Meyer era. He's one of the reasons why Urban Meyer ain't got more Big Ten titles, even though Urban Meyer went 7-0 against Michigan. I'm just saying. But the 2023 college football season is officially over. And again, congrats to the Big Ten for winning the title. I can't do it. I just can't bring myself to say that. The best I can do is say congrats to the Big Ten, both current member and future member. Congrats to the Big Ten for winning the the college football championship. What else am I gonna say? I'm congratulating the Big Ten. That's the most you're gonna get out of most Ohio State fans. The Big Ten won the title. Boom. With the season officially over. Other sports, we got the consensus number one team in volleyball, men's team volleyball, and March Madness is coming. So some other stuff to keep an eye out on. But the football season we know runs things, and the football season's over. Be looking at the portal, be looking at commitments. We got the number one, the top cornerback commit, Devin Sanchez committed. So we'll see. We will see how stuff goes. Like I said, Ohio State's not broken, but I am interested in your guys' comments because I didn't comment on it. What do you guys think should happen? Because I stayed out of it. I'll say that for another time. What do you think should happen? Should the NCAA find some violations against Michigan? What do you think should happen? I ain't going to comment on it. But I'd love to see your comments on it. What do you think should happen, if anything? Do you think the NCAA is going to do anything? What do you think about Ryan Day? Anything I said about Ryan Day, the coaching candidates, the transfer portal, who do you like? Do you like who we have coming in? What do you guys think and feel about that? So please hit me up in the comments. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Like I said, grew a lot in 2023. Hoping to do more in 2024 and grow this thing out. So again, until next time, congrats to the Big Ten. Just one last time, congrats to the Big Ten for winning the championship. So until next time, OHIO, go Bucks. I'm out.